Listen, I don't know about you, but I started a business so I could do this. Travel, be with friends, be with family, create memories. I didn't do it to sit at the computer all day. I didn't do it so that I could just be in countless emails and Zoom meetings. I did it to create opportunities for myself and opportunities for others. So listen, if that's something that interests you, enjoying time with your friends, being out and about, definitely drop by Erica Williams Classy Climb blog. Check out the YouTube channel. We've got over 2,000 videos of free information that's actually changed people's lives. People actually post their new jobs, their new careers, their new businesses all the time over at the channel. Hello. Welcome, everybody. Drop your city and state in the chat. This is your girl, Erica, Class Climb blog. I was supposed to drop 2 videos yesterday, but you know what? Life be life, and that massage hit me, and I was done. I was pressed for time. Okay. So long and the story short, let's get into it. You see the video, Winter Arc 2025. You know, every year we come in here and talk about the seasons. But before we get to that, drop your city and state in the chat. Tell me hello. Where are you? Some of you are all over this world, so I would love to know where you are. It helps me in making the events. I think I have a day with Erica coming up soon for the Carolinas and for Atlanta possibly later. We gotta see. We got a really big, heavy schedule with Inner Circle. So those days, those dinners might be able to be scheduled, might not be able to. So might just have to save them for the Inner Circle. So anyway, let's get into it. Many of you are probably wondering, why is this video called Winter Arc 2025 and is 53 too old? It's 53 too late to win. You see behind me, I have Winter Man behind me. Many of y'all have asked repeatedly in videos, why do I have the Japanese samurai behind me? I love samurai stuff. If I could decorate half my house with Native American stuff and samurai stuff, that would be it. Just those 2 items. Be like a living room with leather couch and Native American things. And then I'd have my office with samurai stuff all over it. Now, why? Many people think Japanese women are so cute and sexy and Japan's so fun and the food and you think of all the cool stuff Japan's made. But that's because we don't think about Japan 1931 to 1945. Japan 1931 to 1945, unalived, because I don't know where this is going to play, 10 to 20 million people. They don't even have the most accurate dates because they were just going in China, just wearing folks out, doing experiments on them. They were going in South Korea doing the same. They were going in the Philippines wearing people out. Do you know what I'm saying? They were stretching their arm all over Asia. And at that time, it was called Eurasia, right? Because many European continents were colonies of those folks. So when I saw the news of a recent rise of a Japanese right-wing person and they're wanting to kick out all the Muslims out of Japan, I was like, please don't wake up the dragon. Don't let old Japan, which some of those people are still alive, old Japan get a handle with the new world we're in, because again, it's in their constitution after we drop the sun on them. So what they call it over there, the sun, which is the bomb, they had to create a new identity. So they said, okay, we can't win in war. We can't handle the mantle of war anymore. We will win in business. We will win in investments. We will win in life. And that's okay. So I just want you to understand, I know that sounds dark, but I want you to understand the transition of a Japanese person going from, we will conquer everything the sun sets on, to losing to America and having to take a new identity. And it literally powered them into the future another 50, 60 years. You can decide in your life if you want to do new things. Okay. There's an article. There's several articles I'm going to share with you all day. Let me get to it. Let's get here. Because you're going to say, what is Winter Arc? Why are we talking about this? Winter Arc is September to January 1st. Many people, we talk about this multiple years in a row. They wait till January 1st. Erica, January 1st. I'm going to, new year, new me, new gym membership, new everything. And I promise you this is a wonderful time to do a new project. People aren't looking and people aren't paying attention. Now, what do I mean they aren't looking? Most people are obsessed with, I'm so busy. My kids. Girl, you know, Halloween's around the corner. I literally told y'all I've been consistently walking and jump roping every morning for about an hour. And I'll see people already decorating Halloween, literally in August, on people's porches and on people's homes and windows. They're already there. They're already in October and they're gone. They can't wait till September 1st for the pumpkin spice latte. Okay, they're already there. Starbucks already knows they're going to change everything over at the office. The last little trips I was making to like gather the last crumbs of summer, um, some of those locations are even like, thank God people are still coming, because some Florida towns had a 30% drop in tourists. Some northeastern towns had a kind of a boom this year because of the TV show The Gilded Age. New Yorkers kind of pumping up the Hamptons, so much so that the Hamptons have decided to put a ban on short-term rentals. And also Rhode Island, just love it. Old money recycles again. So listen, let's get in here. Let's show you this part of a video I promised y'all was, Fred's collapsing. And I know I'm going to get to it. I promise. I might have to smash it into this video, but let's play this. This is important because everybody was like 53 where when they saw this man's face. I want y'all to look at Asian don't raisin and black don't crack. If you treat yourself right, if you take care of yourself, that's why you're seeing so many videos of black women who are like, I'm 46 and oopsie, I got pregnant. You'd be like, God, how? And they look great. They don't look old. They don't look ran down or anything like that. Let's go here. Let's go like
when I kept hearing people say that my content is very blunt. And it got me to thinking, why do they think that? And why do I do it? I think it started when I wanted to learn about money and how to become financially independent at around 13 or 14 years old. So I asked people I respected, adults, how to do it. And all I heard was people bullshitting me. So they didn't know how to do it, but they kept talking about as if they did. So they made up stuff. Teachers made up stuff. Parents made up stuff. Every adult made up stuff. They just kept saying bullshit. And so when I started making content, I decided I was just going to cut all that crap out. Tell you what it's really like. What corporate is really like. To have money, because society treats people with no money very badly. And when people say things like, there's more to life than money, the lust of money is the root of all evil, I realized, not back then, that they are just copes. Everyone who say those things have given up. So when I make videos, I just get straight to the point. This is how things are. You start investing at 50, it's too late. You're not Colonel Sanders. If you expect to retire financially independent and you have nothing at age 50, the game's over. You had 30 years. You did nothing with it. You should expect to work until you die. There's no sugarcoating anything. Buying a home's not an investment. You put too much money in a house, you're going to live broke forever. All these sacred cows, all the stuff I wanted to learn when I was younger, no one was able to give me a straight answer. And I went to real estate investment meetings. I got a whole bunch of garbage there. Everyone just wanted to sell me their bad investments. So this channel is for people who want concepts and fundamentals and education about money without the bullshit, without all the fluff and the adjectives, aside from this video, which is a rant. But anyway, I just thought I'd mention that because I kept hearing people saying like, you're so blunt and no nonsense and this and that. And I started thinking about why I do that. Because when I was growing up, I got too much fluff and too much bullshit. Learn the lessons about money that the adults in your life don't know, and they're gaslighting you on it. Download my free newsletter linked off the bio.
And again, every time I tell people about my experiences, my grandparents, North Carolina, how, how one grandparent owned a business and a farm and all these different things. And people go, oh, that's just rare. It's not happened. I'm like, no, it's not rare. You just don't know enough people. That's all. And that's okay. We are the average of the 5 people we know. So even when I share my life and people are like, oh, you're so harsh, you're so mean, Erica, give people a break. And I get even from my family members, they'll tell me I'm harsh when I'm like, well, this person has run away from their family and their kids and spent the past, 40 years goofing off in New York City. And now they're sick and disabled and they're old and they've come back to town looking to being taken care of. What if we weren't here? What if their kids say no? It falls on society and it falls on other people if they decide to take up that mantle. They should suffer because that's what happens. But in America, we have a beautiful thing called a safety net called Social Security, emergency assistance, all those great things. At the end of the day, you have the life you get to create. Now, do accidents happen? Do people get in terrible car accidents? Do life unfold unfortunately for some people? Of course, and that's the grace of our country and the grace of nonprofits and charity work. But you can go check out his page. People are like, that's his number one comment under most of his posts is, that's so harsh. That just applies to you. And it's just the truth of, it's math and it's really simple. And it's like, I'm not going to go as far as at 50 is too late. I get countless phone calls from people who are 60 and 72 years old, 70 work, still working and still trying to figure out something, which you can. You're just in an older position now, right? You may have to swing for the fences for something to work. So you can go look at his information. And a lot of times people say, well, they're giving these football players, NLI money. And the reason I think people are so upset with these young football, let's just go one way, they're Black. And two, it's it's a pastime they enjoy, but it's almost like bitter sour. I forgot the word. It's a phrase, but it's like bitter something, right? Where it's like they're enjoying it for free, right? It costs the college money. It costs ESPN. It costs all these people are making billions of dollars off of pumping for 4 months this winter arc time to show you sports. Everybody's getting paid. The guy filming, the producers, the kids on camp, everybody's getting paid. The coaches are getting paid millions, but they want these young Black people, majority young Black people. Yes, there's a lot of white guys in football, but majority young Black people to be working for free. And the thought that this kid I'm watching makes $1 million, I even hear it in the tone. I was at tailgates at University of Texas and people were like, those thugs, look at that thug. And I was like, really, this white guy wants to say the other word. He just can't say it. He's upset because financially this kid is doing better than him, will be farther than him. And many of them will say stuff in the comments of like, well, in 3 years, he'll be in jail or broke. Why is that the first go-to in many of the comment section when you see football on TV, when some kids made 5 to 10 million? When you can actually go follow some of these people's Instagrams, and there's one football player in Austin, Texas, his wife is already transitioning. Like he's playing for, he played for Cleveland, but they went to college at University of Austin. They graduated from there. They got married. She went back. She's like, Austin's where we live, right? Austin's lit, right? So they have a beautiful home in Austin. They're already creating content for his retirement life. Well, he went and got signed up again. He retired from the Cleveland Browns because he wanted to get out of there. They wouldn't trade him. And then he went and signed up with the Vikings. Are they moving to Minnesota? Heck no. They hate Minnesota. They're still living in Austin, and she's creating content. So what you have to realize is the content machine of social media. If you have a certain number of views, 100,000, subscribers, 50,000, 500,000 subscribers, and depending on the content angle, mostly family, church, right? Super fit husband, you'll make 100,000 to $500,000 a year off content. Yeah, you'll work your butt off though, because it's really just content call to action. Another thing that you see popularly is affiliate marketing. You'll see people make short ads like, hey, I've used this product, and they're sponsoring it and running traffic to their link. It's a very popular technique. I want people to understand, like, you're going to see a ton more of that. So again, there's several videos I was putting out this week and I'm going to show y'all the whole barbell method and go over that. But I want you to go look at his information talking about Canadians and retire at 50, and people get really mad at him. And it's unfortunate because it's a math equation. So people just have to listen to it. So again, there's a million ways he goes off in here. He kind of rants more than he thinks he does. But anyways, let's go ahead and get into the next thing. I just want to say for clarification, I don't think it's over. I just think from 35 to 65 is some of the best years to learn a new language, to learn certifications. That's why we put it in our groups here, right here. You have 3 scary reasons to learn a language now. And it just talks about your time in the day, right? From 10 a.m. to 7 a.m. What are you doing? You're sleeping? Are you getting up? Are you working? What are you doing your day? Eating, drinking, sleeping, personal, telephone, etc. And so again, here's another one I like. It says, Basically, this guy started learning Portuguese, and he said, "Oh well, it might mess me up in Spanish," because he was already an advanced Spanish speaker. Let me go here. So there's a French saying. I'm not even going to try to say that, but it translates to "Time lost can never be regained." But he thinks there's a better quote. We really can't lose time since it never really under our control, but we do lose opportunities as time goes by. I've said this multiple times on the channel. Oops, sorry. There we go. I said this multiple times on the channel because I want people to understand this. If you're a 50 something year old dude or a 60 something year old dude, and there was a YouTuber that we will not name his name, but he was like, yeah, I can still go get married and have another kid if I want. And I'm like, dude, you just had like a heart attack and a stroke and you're not doing great. And we just saw Alan Roger Curry. And then we saw another guy. Like we saw multiple guys in their 50s die. We've seen passport bros go to Brazil and be in Brazil, and their mom has to make a GoFundMe to get their body back from Brazil. That's crazy. So I want you to understand that, like, you don't lose time, but you lose opportunity. The opportunity for you to be a young, fit, viral dad is gone. The opportunity for you to be, to be a 20-year-old world traveler isn't there because you're 50. Okay. So again, this was talking about why you can learn. And of course, babies learn really great, right? Toddlers, right? And then it's really high when you're adolescent. 10 to 18 is a great time to learn a second language, right? Another time to learn language is 35 to 65 years old. That's why I'm never a big believer in like, oh, it's too late for you to learn. It's too late for you to get a second job. I remember seeing so many videos of people when they're saying, oh, how do you feel about the layoff? And they were just kind of saying they're too old to start over. And that's a mindset because at any point in the game, they could start over if they so choose. Okay. Don't let that fool you. Now, let me show you a couple things here. I got a couple good ones for y'all. I tried to hold off on. Okay. Again, I make this comment. Everything you see once, you'll see again. Here's an example. This is Ben Kelly. Ben Kelly's been telling you, buy businesses, buy businesses. Now, this is why I'm laughing about this, because he's getting a lot of flack for this one, as he should, because whatever you saw in 2020 to 2022, let's even go there, 2019 to 2022. If you saw somebody selling courses on it and you tried it, I try to advise people of how labor intensive something is. Hold on a second. How labor intensive something is, or how if it's cash intensive, you need to be wary. He's talking about, I just bought 2 trucks. I found a management company to hire the drivers and oversee routes. My 2 trucks make $5,000 a month. I learned anybody can do this. Here's how. 6 months ago, I bought 2 trucks for $75,000 each. I found a management team who will hire drivers, manage it, oversee the routes. I pay them 15% fee on revenue, and I still profit about $1,500 a week. But you don't need $150,000 in cash. Instead, you can use an SBA 7A loan. I paid in cash to offset my taxes, but with a loan, you could put down $7,500 per truck, then use the cash flow from the truck to pay back the loan. Now, again, what happened a couple years ago? A bunch of people flooded trucking. A bunch of people outsourced the management. I was also one of those. Again, I've told you countless stories, horror stories of the Russians. The Russians got me. Go to Chicago and ask any Black person about the Russians. They gonna tell you about them Russians, okay? And how they handle people and do people in business. The word done got out, okay? So if you meet somebody and they want to work for the Russians, I just look at them like, okay, good luck with that, right? But here's the problem. People are looking for, like, how can I do something so passive it doesn't require my time? I told y'all when I went to my dentist office and I had to have dental surgery, we're talking in there and I was like, oh, excuse me, sir, I've got to get this call. My truck, something happened. He's like, oh, you drive? I said, honey, no, I don't drive. I own semi trucks. And his eyes changed. His conversation to me changed. His demeanor, his shoulders leaned back. His conversation was different because now I was not just another dental patient. I was a business person. And I keep telling y'all, I've met many times, I've been in a room where, oh, what do you do, hun? I'm like, oh, I manage this. Oh, you manage it for somebody? No, I own it. And the demeanor changes, the back straightens, the get more serious. I remember telling somebody I had a painting company, and my friend and the white man beside me on the plane, we were in first class, like, oh, I used to have that in college. And I was like, oh my God, we just had a mega year. We made over 300,000. It was just the best year in Austin. And he's just like looking like confused. He's like, man, I didn't make a lot of money, and I was just kind of goofing off in college, and now I work in tech. And his whole demeanor changed. He was just like, man, I'm really glad you congrats on making all that money. Like, wow. He was no longer doing better than me. He assumed I was just doing something that was a low income thing that he did in college. But no, I'm sitting here beside you in first class. I'm telling you it makes significant money. And now your face is sour because you're thinking. And he's like, I think before the plane landed, he was like, man, I'm really thinking about painting again. And I just laughed. Because what happens is people are comfortable if they think they're doing better than you. But you're doing better than them, they ain't that comfortable. Okay. So again, I've been here, I've done this. Again, I want to let you know there are people who have absentee truck companies selling them online. That is very true. You still could buy 1 or 2 trucks and have a driver and someone manage it and get some money. But remember, it's very cash intensive. I went into an industry blinded and doubled down, tripled down, quadrupled down with 10 freaking trucks. So I got my lesson. I got smacked on the hand. I have a couple left, but at the end of the day, I just have to admit, I have like third party source that out and keep it moving, because that's just, everybody has to learn their lessons. So when he put this up there, some people were calling cap, you just isn't true. But his whole page is about what? His whole page is about buying businesses, right? And how you can buy businesses. So, I mean, he's got to sell this to you. Excuse me. They're cooking in the house and they're really seasoning everything. So again, his whole page is about buying businesses and how him buying businesses, he's able to do A, B, and C. Now you're going to say, this guy makes a lot of content for someone who owns 6 businesses and are running them. Why is he selling this information? And I just want people to understand, like, this is a part of why he's selling this information. There's a generation of Americans who don't care about corporate life anymore. It's no longer about the fancy lunches, shiny titles, work and travel. We just want to have enough passive income to grow our lives and raise great families. I think what's happening is, after the pandemic, people had a wake up shift in like what's important and is this the right goal to be striving for, and how much time do I really get with my kids, and this is where this leads, right? So I'm going to tell you about the barbell method and why you see so many people on social media teaching and why they don't get the same flack. And again, people are very anti-courses now. Courses. And I kind of just laugh because I'm like, any of these business people you see, they're doing it this way. They're doing a barbell method to invest in companies and make businesses. So let me go here. Go to the next. And this is something. This one's, it might be a controversial guy to some of y'all, but I love him. This one, he was young, and now you meet him, he's older. But I like his young person energy.
The only way you can get rich working a job is if you're good at stealing. A business will redistribute wealth and power to you 8 times faster. The system is set up where those who don't have businesses pay all the taxes. And we're the only people who have no businesses. Black folk are paying more than their share of taxes because we are so silly we won't start businesses. If you don't have any businesses, you're going out of existence. No other group is that silly to tell their children, go off and get a good education and then go get yourself a good job working in a white company someplace. We're the only people that don't encourage our children to start businesses. You cannot get rich working a job. The only way you can get rich working a job is if you're good at stealing. A business will redistribute wealth and power to you 8 times faster.
Now, again, maybe people get frustrated when I share this type of content. Oh, Erica, but you said it's okay to work job. I never said it was not okay. I just want you to understand the math is not in your favor. And most of these people are starting companies that aren't these massive companies that take up every night and day. And these are people showing you how to start buy businesses that are already run by staff and company. Majority of people start businesses. If they have a boss hog running the show, they don't have to be there every day. At all. They don't. And many people hated Claude Anderson in the 70s and 60s because what he was saying was true, right? Because it required responsibility. But one way you can ruin a community of people is if you tell them play all day, play all day, delay. You have people who are in their 40s and 50s on social media on Pop the Balloon Challenge, talking about marriage at 40 and 50. Not talking about they own a home, not talking about they have a great career, talking about dating and marriage online. Now you're going to say, well, Erica, what's wrong with that? Everybody has to have their lane. No, we have too many people in the goofy lane. Shut the goofy lane down, because if You're having people at 40 and 50 finally do get married and then finally buying a home at some point along that journey. Some of those people have already had kids, some of them have not had kids, and they're just doing things out of dysfunction and order. So they've got a solid 10 years, maybe 20 years of marriage and investing at that point to create some type of retirement. So you have a community that's in absolute disarray because they want to start later, right? There's a couple, and I'll see if I can pull it up on Facebook real quick. The boy is white, the girl is black. It doesn't matter, but they're 22 and they have a house. He's working. She's a stay-at-home mom. And everybody's like, oh my God, they're too young. They're too young. They're too young. And it's like, that's actually the appropriate age. That would be them getting out of college age. If you look around a lot of these towns, those kids are getting married, right? And so it's very much, their channel is popular because it pushes back against the narrative. Many people would love to trade places with those two. Then be out here roommates 50, 4 or 5 people deep in roommates in a house. That's not what they wanted to do. So again, here, let me show this over here. Let me show you BlackRock. Okay. So this is why I brought this up. I'm gonna just explain it the best way I can. I had the Inner Circle group in Tennessee, and a guy was talking about creating comps. Big Business also used to talk about this, and people got mad with him because, of course, he did some shady stuff. But he was talking about how to create and control comps. Many people have talked about this, and people lose the incentive. So again, she's talking about how BlackRock will buy 500 homes at $300,000. This is entry level pricing. They'll sell 3 of them, for $700,000. So that instantly reprices the whole neighborhood at $700,000 is what happened in Austin, Texas, essentially. And that means now they have this big bankroll. So I'll play it for you so you guys can hear it without me running it.
And now the entire neighborhood, each house is valued at $700,000. And then they're going to turn them into obscene rentals. And simultaneously, they're going to have a $2.5 value on that portfolio to borrow against.
Right.
And every American in that community was just priced out of everything around that community.
God, they're so smart. Aren't they just so smart the way they do this?
They buy 500 houses at $300,000. Okay. They put them all in a portfolio. They could flip that through a secondaries market, but even better, they could hold those houses for a year. Don't let anyone move in. Keep it looking like a construction zone. Okay. And then a year later, they sell 3 of those houses that they bought for $300,000 to themselves in another fund for $700,000.
And
that creates 3 comps in the neighborhood. They do one of each of the models. Okay. And now the entire neighborhood, each house is valued at $700,000. And then they're going to turn them into obscene rentals.
Okay.
There's no way.
There's 3 giant corporations, BlackRock, State Street, and Vanguard, which own 89% of the S&P 500. They've now decided to buy every single family home in America. So if they stay on the current trajectory, they will own 60% of the homes in this country, single family homes, by 2030. And the head of it, Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, is on the board of that World Economic Forum. And what they've said, we want this great reset, which is you will own nothing and you will be happy. So you all probably have heard of people who are about to buy a home and somebody comes in at the last minute with a cash offer and snatches it out of the market.
Right.
And it's usually an LLC with an ambiguous name. But if you trace that up, you'll find it's owned by BlackRock. And because they have a huge bank book, the cost of money and interest to them is tiny, which means they can outcompete your children. Your kids do not have a chance to buy that home because they can't outcompete BlackRock. There's 3 giant.
Okay. Part of why when they're like, yeah, we gotta. I can't get on board with many Democrats or liberal people who are like, we got to get Robert Kennedy out of there. He's like, dude, I just want you to stop putting food dyes in the children's food. I want you to stop with the excess sugar in the foods. I want you to stop with the black. And so it's like, well, no, he's got to get out of here. He's a crazy person. So he's a crazy person telling you to stop poisoning children and to adjust the food dyes that they ban in every other country except for America. Now, I've always told y'all, we cannot compare ourselves to parts of Europe. When people say, oh, y'all don't have free healthcare. And I'm like, go look at Canada. They literally show countless videos of people basically offing themselves, unaliving themselves because Canada approved it, because they had depression or they were overweight, crazy reasons. Not like cancer, not like extreme, just, oh, you're depressed? Yeah, you can qualify for this. On top of that, they had literally showed multiple videos of this town didn't have a dentist. And so Canada was like, okay, we'll send you a dentist over here so you can get your free health care. And they had 400 people lined up down the block so that they could get an appointment in the next sometime in the year to get the dentist. So when people talk about America and like, we don't have free healthcare, we could do better. I'm like, okay. Again, we're 330 million people. Go look at the countries they're talking about that have free healthcare. They usually have like 10 million citizens. That's less than the population of Dallas, Fort Worth. Of course, that country can say, you know what, let's do this. The Netherlands and all these places charging 60% taxes, of course they could do it. These places like the Greek Isles and these small Greek towns where they're just begging for citizens to just come, population to just come, of course they can do it. They don't have, literally, this lady was in Monaco, and Monaco is one of the richest places in the world. I sent that video for y'all to watch. 100 children a year get born in Monaco. So of course, and they get the 100 children that are born a year, they get first dibs on housing, apartment, dental services. But it's very hard because who's in Monaco? Just billionaires, just old people, old wealthy people. It's very hard to get on the list. So when people sit here and aren't doing the math on society, it always just blows my mind, because people are basically delaying their life until they get to a point where they don't have a choice. Let me go here and show you this.
Bought this place for,
let me see. This is the last slide on it. It's like salary you need to buy a home in the United States was $59,000 in 2020. Trust me, I know. I was going to get the biggest and the best. Today it's $106,000, up 80%. If your income doesn't increase by 80% every 5 years, pay attention. The rich aren't playing the same game as the middle-class homeowners. They prioritize cash flowing assets over home equity. Single family home, oftentimes liability, mortgages, repairs, real assets, income every month. This is why you see the house hacking phenomenon. This is why you have all these people talking about house hacking, duplexes. Even there's a movement kind of in the real estate space where they're talking about people turning houses into, what do you call them? Single bed, basically boarding houses. I mean, they're saying a nice word. Yeah, it's a single. No, it's a boarding house. You're putting locks on every door. They're sharing a kitchen. You got 4 strangers in there sharing a place that don't know each other. It's a boarding house. Okay. It's a boarding house. Okay. Let's just stop putting fancy words on it. These are been in America forever. So instead of locking up net worth in a home, the rich buy apartments, collect rent, dividend stocks, quarterly checks, digital real estate, AI driven income. And so again, capital needed to earn $5,000 a month for dividend stocks, $1.5 million, unless you're picking 10% dividend stocks, but 10 to 15% dividend stocks. But if you're in the Wealthy Wednesdays, you've heard me talk about that. Rental property, $600,000. You do not need that. I will show you for rental properties to get $5,000 a month, and then digital real estate, $5,000. This is for them to sell you on creating websites basically and selling them to people. So again, the rich don't just build wealth. They protect it for generations. Trust, LLCs, family foundations, life insurance, and asset planning. So wealth is past heirs. BlackRock flips rent checks. The game isn't income, it's ownership. And everybody knows that. So again, AI will create more millionaires in 5 years than the internet did in 20, not by coding, not by inventing, not by starting the next Tesla. Again, I'm reading this. I know y'all could read this for yourself, but I just 3 years ago, I ran a window cleaning business in Utah, making $90,000 a year. I had no family time. I was no shot at retiring early. Today, I have a digital real estate play. What is he doing? 2/3 of home service businesses say getting new clients is a headache. Why? Those guys just want to work, right? The fix is using tools like Wix AI to build websites to get more leads. Each site they rent to home service businesses for $2,000 a month. Okay. So again, he just builds 10 of those, 12 of those, boom. Right. You can go check them out. Again, this is Derek and North Dakota using digital real estate, my lovely title I've been using for years, but I salute them. You can go check it out. You can go check it out for yourself. So let me go over here and show you again. Y'all see me talk about this last video. I'll do it one more time. Owning a business in America is the best tax loophole in America. Right here with the right moves, you can literally create 100,000 tax write-offs. I'm not going to read this whole thing because I read it last video, but you guys can look at this again. Business expenses, hiring family members, cut self-employment taxes, distributions, health reimbursement arrangements, deduction for business assets, qualified business income deduction, cash flowing assets. Okay. this is a very important thing they're talking about, and it's something we'll be sharing in the winter arc training in Digital Liberty Warriors, and also in Middleman to Millions. We'll be talking about, and I wrote it, make sure, concrete ads, affiliate ads. We'll talk about how in your winter arc you should be doing your ads, your reviews, your testimonials, pictures of work completed. That's something you should be working on. And how to create a ridiculous goal. Now, I'm going to tell y'all, like, all these Instagram pages you see, even this one, I've been talking about him the most. All they're doing over and over is they're making content. They're literally doing a call to action. You go over there. They literally, many of them use mini chat. It's literally called mini, MANY chat. It responds in context with you, and they make a sale. So they could get thousands of hundreds of people every day. You know, oh man, hey, I want this ebook, I want this gift, I want this digital product, whatever, right? Because you can make 10 to 20K a month in digital products. You just have to decide what's your vehicle. Is your vehicle YouTube or is your vehicle Instagram? Instagram, in my opinion, is on easy mode, right? You could literally rotate the same 5, 6, 7 pictures and just have words on the screen. That's very popular now. And just get people to call to action every day. And we'll talk about that there. YouTube's still my baby just because it's my baby. Okay. But you will start seeing on Facebook some of my affiliate ads, and I'll share those in Digital Liberty Warriors, the 5 affiliate products that I'm going to be running digital ads on. Why? Because after I had my commercial filmed by Zapier, I was really inspired. I was like, gosh, man, I could film my own commercial and make a ton of money. So let's go here. This is important before I go over the barbell method, though. I thought this was funny this week. There you go.
Congratulations, you're riffraff. Number 1, how many conspiracy theories do you believe? The cutoff here is 5 because some conspiracy theories have turned out to be true. I do think that it's healthy to believe in a conspiracy theory here and there. But if everything is a conspiracy theory, anytime somebody passes away or, you see something in the sky, it is always a conspiracy theory with you, riffraff. Number 2, you are proud to have low standards. I think this is quintessential riffraff, but a lot of you do it. This is where a lot of you get caught up. I can dress how I want to. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that I live in filth. It doesn't matter that I look like trash. Okay, well, if it doesn't matter that you look like trash, you shouldn't be mad that people are telling you that you look like trash. You also shouldn't be mad that you're living out the consequences of looking like trash. No wonder you don't have friends. No wonder you don't have money. No wonder you don't have the life that you want, because you are proud and you are standing 10 toes down on looking like trash, behaving like trash, etc. Number 3, I said multiple, but even if you have one unraised child that you brought into poverty on purpose, riffraff. All these people making these videos with these children in filthy conditions, begging for money on the internet, are you serious? Number 4 goes together with number 1, but they're not always the same person. So it's worth pointing out that you don't read. You don't read instructions. You don't read a sign in front of your face. You definitely have never read a book. The only thing you might read is a big old wrong headline, which is why you believe everything is a conspiracy. And last but not least, you have never accomplished anything, but you are always talking about what somebody else can and can't do. You always think you know how the world works, but you haven't so much as at least ran a jog, done a little jog around the neighborhood, maybe completed a book that has small text from front to back. You have literally accomplished nothing in your life, but you know everything. Okay. There are a lot of ways to be an unsavory person, but when you are riffraff, you usually can't be helped. And I think that that's really sad.
Okay, so I laughed about that, but I really want y'all to understand. You will put your fingers through your head by the time you listen to half the stuff. Now, this past week, something that showed me a lot of people are riffraff is they were like, President Trump takes away Kamala Harris's security detail, right? Social Security. Now, again, if you just read the article, it will tell you that every time there is a presidential candidate or a vice president, they get 6 months. That's the standard after they leave office of care, service, extra detail. Just 6 months, right? Or there was Obama, whoever. Then after that 6 months, it goes down to a lesser detail, like 1 or 2 guys, 1 to 5. They never say the exact number because they don't want you to figure out how much security they have at all given times. But you don't get the 10, 15, 20 guy routine anymore. Even when Trump was running for president and, supposedly shot, you didn't get that group of level of detail of, security. So I read the article immediately and was like, oh, that's crazy. He did that. Let me click and read. And it was like, oh, everybody's standard is 6 months. Joe Biden, because it was so contentious, signed her for a 18-month deal, year to 18 months. Depending on what the climate was going to be like, so she could have extra protection. So really, her 6-month time is done, which is the standard. And if the government's claiming they're short on money, they're just cutting some of the budget. But of course, everybody's like, he's evil. He's going to go to hell. He's terrible. Someone should cut his security. And so what you realize is all these people just read the headline and didn't read the article and don't know how government works. So you're just, I literally just wanted to troll people all day. I was like, you didn't read the article. It doesn't matter if I didn't read the article. He's still petty, And so it's like you're laughing because what you realize is the bar is so extremely low that if you just read the article, if you just read for 2 minutes an article, you will realize, oh, that's how government works. That's what they do with our presidents. Like, that's why Obama always has 1 or 2 guys walking with him, no matter, he'll be walking DC during the cherry blossoms. He's walking through people's photos. He's in Martha's Vineyard with 1 or 2 guys always walking beside him. That's standard. That's documented. That's in the book. The Bush daughters, when they were in college, they had 1 or 2 guys walking with them. They even got arrested by the local police for drinking underage, and their security detail could not get them out of it because they could not, it's a conflict of authorities or whatever. And they can't just be right behind the girls all the time. They had to give them a little space. Same thing with Malia and Sasha. While they were in college, they had 1 or 2 people following them on campus, giving them significant space so they can walk around and talk to their friends. And that's why I want you to understand, like, it is very hard for any president. Even now, Barron is at some college up north in New York, and he has 1 or 2 security guys walking with him. So if you read the article, you realize that's the standard, and that's what's in our budget for their security. Nancy Pelosi has security. Her husband didn't have any. That's why somebody broke in his house. And I want you to understand, like, you just realize how many people just don't read. It's crazy out here. So let me go here. And you just can't win in life if you don't read. I don't, that's the nicest way I can say that. So I have several slides here. So prepare yourself. We're on the whiteboard of truth and justice. Enjoy. We're about to hit a couple of them. So I put in here, it's not too late. Housing, you just have to figure out what is in this list. Housing, grandkids. Is there a traveling you want to do? Is there any major purchases you want to do? Try to pay off those things while you're working. Now, Dana did a series of videos. She's doing her rounds, of course, for the fall. Most people are when they're getting ready to sell their fall products because most business owners are doing their winter arc. I've told y'all several times, like, people are going to make $10,000 to $50,000 a month who are in business because they're going to do a push for the fall. They're going to push September, October, November, December. Why are those months important? Why? People have lowered their card. They've let's just go there. They've had their summer. The kids are back in school. They are like, man, I really should do something. I really should try to get this year or get next year organized or in motion, right? I have a Bible study thing I do on Tuesdays coming up. It always starts like the second week of September in the fall, through like April, right? It's one of those things where you're starting something and you realize the average person is like checked out. They're on Halloween, they're on November, they're on Thanksgiving dinner list that doesn't take forever to make, they're on December. And so I just want to understand it, when people say, well, I want to retire, Erica, and I want to retire in 2 years. I want to retire in 5 years. All those things are honorable. They're great. They're good. What's the game plan to get you there? So these next couple, things on the whiteboard is what I want you to understand. If, part of one of Dana's interviews is really good. I think I shared it on the community wall is when she started buying investment properties, she had choices now. The post office was paying her $60K a year. She'd call out so much, she only made $30K a year off that. It was just kind of a thing she kept holding on to security wise, but she kept traveling, going, living life. Why? Because when you, essentially she was saying it, hold on a second. when you're raising kids from like 18 to your 40s, you're like, man, I need a break. You know what I mean? I've been doing this for so long. And so a lot of people will try to catch up on the back end of life. If you're going to do that, you need to calculate how much that costs. These carnivals, these cruises, these trips, add that into your overall budget for what you want in life, right? And try to pay those things off, or what we would say credit cards off, while you're working. And then you just get back consistent to what you want to invest to kind of switch, you know? Also, you want to switch from hands-on to remote only or phone service. As you notice, a lot of guys in construction, when they get in their 50s and 60s, oh, my back, my knees, my whatever, they usually switch to management, property management, project management. They start to go get skills. They switch over to management. Why? Their body is telling them, you cannot climb on roofs anymore. You're 50, you're 60. You're not going to hop up and down stuff as much as you used to. I see more than ever older folks doing stuff. I told y'all when we had our group that went to Panama for the Panama real estate group, we were in Boquete in the mountains, Panama. And there was an American black man with his military veteran hat on, hop out of a dump truck and go, hey, what you guys doing here? Where you guys from? And we're like, you know, everybody's yelling, Texas, DC, da, da, da. I'm a veteran too. You know, all this stuff people were yelling to him. And he was so excited. He's like, I used to go to E.E. Smith High School. And I was like, yeah, from Fayetteville. I know. And he was just saying, you know, y'all have a good time. And I was like, this man is clearly retired in his 60s and he's still working in a foreign country in his 60s. So when people are like, hey, I got a pension, I'm gonna retire. You don't retire unless the math works for you. Did he think he was going to be in his 60s driving a dump truck in Panama? Probably not, but he might have a younger sweet thing over there. He might, the place he's staying might take up a lot of his military pension. We don't know. He might have split his military pension with an ex-wife. We don't know. We didn't get to have that really long conversation with him, but it was very enjoyable to see an American working, just being honest with y'all, in another country. Okay. So you have to decide when that cutoff period is for you. Just saying I'm never going to work hard again after 50 and 65 is not realistic, because I get countless calls from people who are 72 and 75 still working in offices. Okay. So again, the walking, the exercise, the food switches. Once you hit 40, your brain, and 50, you should say, I might need to lay off this or that. I don't know if you guys have recently seen a picture of The Rock, but he came off them steroids. And it shows. He looks lean. You also had David Bautista. He's like, I can't play this role anymore because I'm 55. And basically he's been juiced up this whole life. He dropped 60 pounds in less than 3 months. You would think both these men been on Ozempic, okay? But they're not. It's because your body, Rock is pushing 60 years old. He cannot be like a tree trunk, even though he's half black, half Samoan, and they are big people. That's not realistic. That's not how that's going to go. All right. So when you see on the screen here, why there's so many people like Ryan Pieta and all these people still kind of selling events and that. And then on the other end, they have investments, because you would think, oh, well, they're rich enough to retire. This is where people get caught up. Okay. Hold on. I have the one of y'all. I shared it on the community wall. Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. There was and this is why I want to show it to you, right? Whenever I hear people say, oh, I'm married and she took all my money, and that's just not realistic. You didn't have much. If all y'all had to split was a house, then what y'all been doing all this time? Where's the other investments, right? Even Juliette Smollett family, Jurnar, however she say her name, when they were like, her husband, she gave him $1 million and gives him $7,000 a month in child support. They were like, he wants half her retirement. People were like, oh, that's terrible. No, most people over a 10-year period, if they have not made their decision on what they're going to do or how they're going to retire, they're going to have to look to take some money from somewhere. And that's what's happening. He needs some money. Let me show you this clip. Because again, cash flow business, investments, monthly, quarterly, ground up, right? That is the barbell. That is the significant barbell that I tell y'all, even when I talk about middleman to million businesses. Well, why would you do that when you could just keep doing digital? I'm like, you need a combination of both till you hit a certain tipping point. There are several guys on real estate channels who are selling half their portfolio so they can have a war chest to do something else. or now have investments where they build it from the ground up, because development is basically just going to suck a lot of money out of you. Let me show you this. This is a prime example of where you start a business, but you're getting ahead of yourself. You're doing too much.
Neighborhood Advance Tax, located in strip malls throughout Central Florida. A few years ago, News 6 began hearing complaints about the business, which promised customers the biggest tax refund possible. Those customers who paid big bucks to the company usually would receive big tax refunds, but later the IRS audited those customers and forced them to pay back the money. That's because prosecutors say employees of the company falsified customers' tax returns by including inflated deductions and charitable contributions. Just days after News 6 began reporting on the business, the IRS launched a criminal investigation. The owners later pleaded guilty to defrauding the U.S. government. Emmanuel Almanor, seen on the left, has been sentenced to nearly 5 years in prison. Jonathan Carrillo, in the middle, will go to prison for 12 years, and Franklin Carter will serve 7 years. Besides these owners, 5 employees of the company have also pleaded guilty to federal charges. Prosecutors say this scheme cost the U.S. government, in other words, taxpayers like you and me, more than $12 million. As part of their sentences, those defendants have been ordered to repay that money. Mike DeForest, News 6.
Okay, now why did I even bring this up? Do you know how they caught them? They were driving Lamborghinis. They were doing the most on social media. For what? Okay, this is why I tell y'all there is a lot of opportunity. People are wanting to live this over the top life, and that the amount of money they make, it doesn't compare. It'd be one thing if they were leasing it. They're not even leasing it. Let me see. Let me see if I can find the. Sorry about that. Hold on a second. Let me see if I can go back over here.
Lamborghini. Now he's beginning a 7-year prison sentence.
Again, so all these things where they're showing me that they're going to do these things, it's unfortunate because it's like they could have just ran that business and got a little bit of money. And now what's a little bit of money? 100,000 to 200,000 a year, just running a tax office. Or they could have bought multiple tax offices. You got to understand this mentality of I'm going to get 12 years of your life for bad taxes, writing it up. I mean, he needs a better lawyer. That's for one, the guy in the middle, but also all those employees, they knew there's this kind of thinking and there's this thought process that you're going to be able to run up a bag in this area, and it makes no sense because you haven't done the work or have the value, right? It's a lot of these poorer communities who are like, I heard so-and-so got 5 to 10K back. You know what I mean? Like, that doesn't make any sense because she didn't work, or she has Section 8 or whatever. You know, she ain't donating to a church every week. It's small things that get people caught up. So let me show you. Sorry. High paying job or cash flow business into long-term investments. Another example, the barbell method. You see my Barbados ghetto there. A+ properties, offices, ground up construction, right? These things are more cash intensive. And the other side of the barbell that's going to give you good cash flow, but you might hate it, is ghetto hood stuff, tax write-offs. Again, there are several people I can show who have properties in the hood, what they would consider the hood. They hate them, but they have good cash flow. They're never going to appreciate great, but they have good cash flow. This is why you see so many people talking about Section 8, and boy, the tenants are worrisome. God, they get on my nerves, right? They do. Tenants will always get on your nerves. I'm on my 3rd refrigerator with one lady. And I'm like, I ain't never in my life had this many. Somebody, what are you selling these refrigerators? Are they going out? What's going on? Right? So this is why you see so many people talking about land flipping businesses and wholesaling, right? And they take that money. If they're smart, they'll build 3 properties. They'll sell 2, keep 1 for a rental. Because what ended up happening is all these wholesalers were just wholesaling their mama's drawers off their back, selling to grandma, selling everything, selling the hood. I'm telling you, if you're a person and your grandparents have some type of house or a piece of land, do not sell it. In 5 years, you will not be able to get into this market unless you're using some type of mortgage program. You know what I mean? Hey, how you doing? What's up? Yeah, I'm working. No, you good. You good. How you doing though? Hold on a second. Hold on. Y'all know people come through. All right, let's finish this up. I don't know where I lost my track of thought, but let's slide to the next one. All right, here we go. Y'all know how it is. Let's show this part first. 90-day increments. And a lot of people don't realize, like Grant Cardone, several people will be doing 90-day increments in their business, in seasons of life, all that stuff. Now, everything on here isn't exactly 90 days, but I'll just explain it. You have investments in January, you have project start, ground construction, a company, you're buying ads, you're really trying to run it up. By April, you're going to cash out, right? Either in that building project or several work construction projects or commercial projects. May/July, August, cash out. A lot of summer construction. A lot of companies go really hard because they know by the time it gets under 60 degrees, you're not going to be able to put on roofs. It's going to be hard to do installation, foam install. It's going to be a lot of businesses that are service related businesses that they base them off seasons, different seasons, right? Window cleaning, what's that thing called? Power washing, driveways, all that stuff. They work best in the summer. So people get really busy in the summer. So August to October, another kind of time where people ramp up to cash out, and October to January. Again, I've told y'all this in different business models, as far as supplement company, as far as home construction, new build construction. There are a lot of people put their projects up, or there's a lot of businesses that are going to be working on their projects this October because they're hoping for the interest rates. And then they're hoping to go into January when buyers are like, I feel more confident, or I really need this home, or I'm on my fourth kid. I can't stay in apartments. There was an apartment I was at where there was 2-bedroom apartments. They had 3 kids and they just had a baby and 2 dogs. That just, as much as people think, well, people can do it, they could, or they could figure out how far out they need to move to go buy a house. So again, that's most business models. Most work on quarterly. That's why you have quarterly taxes people pay. People can judge if the business needs to let go employees. That's why people are having a hard time getting hired this summer. This summer for Florida, a lot of Florida cities, beach towns, they had a 30% reduction in tourists. Las Vegas was basically on life support. Okay. This summer, it was still people out there, but it was on life support. All right. I went to Summer League again this year. It was real lean in there now, but what's going to happen October, November, December in Las Vegas? A lot of snowbirds, a lot of Canadians will come down. Also, you have SEMA, you have a lot of events, a lot of conferences. It's very much a conference city. So that's still back on. And so they'll make their money back because people get reckless around Christmas. Now, this is, as I've been talking about construction, as I've been talking about rentals, many people say, well, Erica, you bashed Detroit for so long, which I did. They deserved it. It was too much. But I will say Cleveland, Indiana, for this example. So you may see a lot of people say, hey, man, I can get you $50,000 to $150,000 in business credit. Now, you may see someone like Derek Whitehead, who I really appreciate because that style of black man from the 80s with the suits and the professional talk is still valuable. It's very valuable. I will even give him his props. He who shall not be named, he was very, he had a great vocabulary, and that's why his channel was so successful for so long. That's why people still ask about him to this day. I hope he's not passed away. I hope he's somewhere just recovering and getting some therapy. I don't know. All right. So let's say you have 50,000 and less. And some of y'all may say, I got 10K in my account. That's all I got. No problem. Cheap rentals, auctions, land, tax deeds. That's where you're going to be. That's your sphere that you're going to be able to work in. Now, let's say you get up to the next level, 50K to 150,000. And many people say, well, Eric, I don't want to do this on credit cards. The interest rates are crazy. Again, this is just a way to get your foot in the door. Many DSR loans do not want to work for under 70,000. Many banks don't want to do loans for under 70,000. But you can go right now to Cleveland, call Bill Yon-Win and some of them who already have projects that are done and get a duplex for 75,000. Prime example, we have a section on the bottom part of our duplexes, and at the top, we get a regular tenant. Why? I'm going to just say it in an ugly way. Section 8 person on the bottom don't ever want to give up their spot. They have Section 8. They want to give up $60 a month. They don't want to give that up. So they'll most likely stay. The person on top can come or go. It don't matter. They got to go up the stairs. So the current amount I think we're going to get is $2,100. No, 2,000, like 100, right on the line or something to that effect. Like, no, 2,085 or something like that, right on the line. So you do the math on that one particular unit. The other units are closer to 21,000. Another unit's closer to 1,500 because both units are what we call real regular rent, non-government compensated, whatever. So again, simple math. I buy that for 75. Let's say I buy 2 duplexes for 75. Right. Or let's say I'm able to swing for the fences and get 3. All right. Let's just, for the record, for the numbers, because that would be 210,000. Because many people are like, I need all this money in retirement to retire. I'm just giving you an example. Says 210,000 for the 3 duplexes. Let's just say, for sake of argument, I'm going to get that much from each unit times 3. That's 4,500 to 6,000 a month. For 12 months, that's 54,000 to 72,000 a year. That is someone's salary. You can say, I never want to invest another dollar, another dime in Cleveland. I just want to stabilize my portfolio. The reason I recommend 3, I've been in a position where you had 1 and you try to sell that package and people are like, just 1? They're going to try to lowball you to death. But if you got 2, now they might work with you. You got 3 or 4. Now they'll give you full price because you're selling them a portfolio and they're going to the bank to buy a portfolio. Okay. I hope that makes sense. I hope that's clarity as much as I can be. The portfolio they're going to sell, that you can get more for it. So I'm going to just tell y'all the truth. If you want to start buying out-of-state properties, go with people who are invested, knowledgeable. I played the Detroit game for a couple of years. I was like, y'all can kiss the dog's A. Now, I love visiting Detroit. The food's delicious. I love it. Now, Cleveland is not bad. I went there 2 times in the winter, but I don't visit this property because it's functioning. I don't visit the second property. It's also functioning. Pictures do well. Invoices do well. I can see all this stuff. This is enough for you to say, this is just a bottom basement investment. No, that's not what I'm saying. Let me clear it up. That's a baseline retirement income. If you never buy another property, if you buy 3 properties in America, you're already in the 1%. So let's say you say, Erica, I don't want to do any more Midwest. I want to be down south. Cool. Anything you buy down south is going to be $250,000. It's just off the rip. I'm talking about Georgia. I'm talking about parts of North Carolina. I'm talking about parts of Texas. You're talking about $250,000 to $300,000. And for me at this point in my journey, if you're going to spend that, you might as well build it from the ground up, build a duplex from the ground up, because then you'll have 50% equity and the numbers make way more sense. Right? So same deal. If you want to get those same 3 duplexes in Texas, I would recommend you build them, because here's your choice. If you build them from the ground up, you can either sell them for around $300K, more, $400,000 if you're in Houston. If you're in Dallas, more, $500,000. Or you can off the rip get $3,000 from it. And it's brand new. And people like brand new. And I would recommend, if you're listening to me on this, is putting a shed in the backyard, because they'll stay longer, because they fill it up with stuff. Like they fill up the garage and they hate to move. So what do you need to do that? $150,000, $250,000. And I'm going to give you a little secret. I tell it to the inner circle. We talk frequently. We'll talk more this upcoming week. That ground up, that new construction, once you get a lender, a hard money lender, and a combination of hard money lender plus the land, it's smooth sailing from there, because you automatically leap to the top. Unlimited. Hard money lending, rentals, bank statements. If you take this step right here, you can always go back down to the bottom and say, well, I'm not paying for another duplex in that area. No problem. You can always keep reinvesting at the bottom in tax deeds and tax liens. I do have to update the all roads lead to real estate, the land buying course. I have to add a little bit more in there, because we had some recent auctions that we attended, and things I can do screenshots and show them. Again, you can always keep picking up $1,000, $2,000, $5,000 cheap deals and work up from there. Don't be discouraged, but you just have to know what is your buy box and your game plan. When people meet you, they're going to ask you, what's your buy box? I always tell them, hey, look, if it's a land or a tear down, I want it. Because there's countless old rentals that someone's half fixed that I'm going to have to come back later and do some more fixing on. I'd rather you just give me the tear down or the land, and then I can build a 3-unit or a 2-unit and enjoy the 10 years of not needing a roof. Enjoy the 10 years of not needing a new AC. Enjoy the 10 plus years of not needing new bathroom, new pipes, new stuff, new refrigerators, new crap. That's why I recommend it this way. And you could do this stack unlimited, right? I'm going to take this same screen and I'm going to do a recording and I'm going to put it in Wealthy Wednesdays. And that's for y'all, how to kind of build this up to where you're receiving real big lump sums. Because this is enough to retire. Now you can say, Erica, whoa, what does this have to do with Winter Arc? Winter Arc is the time where you make the decision. What is the big hairy goal that is, don't say in 6 months, I want to make $10 million. That's not realistic per se, but what is something that's accomplishable? Is it learning a new language? Is it learning new cooking skills? Is it walking every day? Is it something that's small? Because when you make small, easy goals, it's easy to do and easy not to do. And that's dangerous. You want a big, hairy goal that inspires you in the morning, that gets you moving, that gets you motivated. And here's why. This right here is blackdemographics.com. Again, you can go look up all the other demographics. That's what you. First fired, Black workers make up 90% of recent job losses. This is July 8th, 2023. What just happened in 2025? 300,000 Black women lost their jobs. So when I sit here and tell you, oh, okay, rentals, again, people will keep finding and piling up cousins into a house to get rental income so that they can keep their rental. They'll figure it out. But you who just has a house and don't have really good pension and don't know what you're going to do, you need to get serious about what's your numbers, right? So again, they have great articles. There's 2 DCs, Black population actually reached 51%. Now we're 15%, right? And again, I like this one. It's Southern top cities for remote work, and it's not Atlanta. And it's like Charlotte, Phoenix, Sacramento, DC, Sacramento, California. Washington, DC is still up there high. Tampa, Florida, Atlanta, Georgia, Raleigh, North Carolina, Jacksonville, Florida, Austin, Texas, and Los Angeles. Again, look at Charlotte, North Carolina. I am going to keep advocating for that. If you're in my inner circle, we already know our special spot, our special stuff we're getting ready to do there. If you're in the Langer, of course, you also know our special stuff we're doing there. But again, these are names you're going to hear often: Charlotte, Raleigh, Jacksonville, Florida, and Austin. You're going to keep hearing them. They're going to continue to be great investment areas because, again, even in Charlotte, people are working remote. It just is what it is. So yeah, you can check out this stuff. You can look it up. All kind of middle of nowhere places: Greensboro, North Carolina, which is another great one; Port St. Lucie, Virginia; Cleveland, Ohio. I mean, all baby New York. Killeen, Texas. Y'all know Killeen, Texas is. We've talked about it on this channel. But again, there's opportunity to make good income from work. I'm not discouraging work. I just want you to understand that time is not wasted. It's just not always on your side if you want to play games. So you have to get really serious and you have to decide, what's the number I'm looking for retirement, and is it too late? And why are these people so blunt? Because it's coming. It's coming like a freight train. You have to know the direction you're going in, because if you don't know where you're going in the next 5 years, you're already there. So anyway, I will make sure I will put the France collapsing video up because I think it's very important for Europe. And again, let me share this tab with you as well. They ain't playing with y'all. They don't want y'all in the Hamptons. Get out of their face. I'm gonna just tell you right this: next year, most people are gonna be in Martha's Vineyard, and they're gonna be in Rhode Island, and they're gonna be in New Hampshire a lot next year. They're gonna be in Oak Bluffs too, because they want to be where it is, you know. And again, they're gonna move the goalposts on the cool places to be again. So brace yourself for that. It's going to be a little rough. So this is your girl, Erica, Classic Climb Blog. I hope this was helpful. If you guys have comments, questions, concerns, drop your city and state in the trap. Say hello to me. If you need anything, I'm just going to recommend, just say this with all honesty, half the certifications I put in that book. I'll be updating my LinkedIn probably in the next 2 weeks, showing you where I took a lot of them because they didn't take that long and they're cheap and some of them are free. There's 4 temp agencies in the ebook. I put them in there. There's actually 15. If I could go back and fix it, I will. But I want you to understand, there's still people working remote. The price point might be $22 to $27, some of them to $38 an hour. And what you have to understand is there's still going to be room in tech. as you have a lot of disruption, do not just read the headlines. Actively look in your area. Actively look in your area. I don't know if Bill Green is still offering it, but Lifting the Veil had the $10 intro. Get in there. Get ready. You have to figure out here in your later years, you need more certifications and more skills. The answer isn't just running off out of America, which that was another clip I had, but I didn't play it, where the lady's like, y'all, I've been living overseas for 6 years, but that ain't the answer. A lot of y'all just need to do 6 months, test it out, because you end up going back even in worse shape. So anyways, this is your girl, Erica, Classic Climb Blog. The Winter Man, the Winter Arc, the 4 months of winter. Be strong, be focused, decide, and commit, because this is a time where no one's watching. In January, they're like, new year, new me. They're watching everybody. They're seeing your Instagram. Right now, you can just work on a few goals, take a few certifications. No one's paying you any attention. They're talking about Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift. They're talking about football for the next 4 months. And so while they're goofing off and they're cooking at barbecues, you figure out how to make some money. And your girl's getting ready to go to barbecue right now. So later. You've probably been seeing these commercials for Middleman to Millions course. What is Middleman to Millions? We're teaching so many people how to have service businesses. The upcoming year, one of the fastest growing businesses you will see are service businesses and digital businesses. Why is that? Because so many things need repairs, need maintenance. And guess what? We have a shortage of men and also women who could do things. Listen, I'm not the best with a hammer, but I know I can gather a crew of people to get things done. And that's what I've done with 2 of my service businesses. And that's what I'll be teaching if you check us out in the Middleman to Millions course. And look forward to us on the road with Digital Liberty Tour 2024.